When you're ready. And you are now live.
Live. Well,
no, you're not live, you're just
videoing. Okay, right. I just thought I'd do a quick little video just to show people the differences with the different coloured waxes. And all I've done is paint this with grey pebble, which is one of the original paints from the Frenchic range, just so that you can see what the different waxes look like on this board. So starting with the first one, the clear wax, and I keep individual brushes for each of the colours because then it's quick and easy to sort out. I'm just going to put that on, and all that will happen is it just makes it look slightly darker whilst the paint is wet, or while the wax is wet rather, and as soon as it's dried it goes back to just being exactly the same colour, and all that does is just seals the paint. So that's the first one. Then we're going to use the defining wax, which is a grey wax, and as its name suggests, it defines any nooks and crannies and any mouldings. So this one I'm just going to paint on, and as you can see it's just grey. Lovely smell to these waxes. It's just very mild, very natural. It reminds me a little bit of Play-Doh. So I'm just going to.
Is it?
No, not toxic. There's no skull and crossbones on the tin, so it's safe for pregnant women to use. It's just very mild, does what it says on the tin, and it seals the paint. And this is obviously a coloured wax, so it's rather nice if you do want to define things or you want to add a bit of colour or definition. So I'm just going to let that one stay on there for a little while just to give it a chance to dry. And whilst I'm waiting for that one, let's have a go with this one, which is the white wax. White wax I always think is really lovely because it gives things quite a chalky look. Here's the white wax. If you put it on over dark colours, it kind of gives it a really nice chalky effect. And it shows up really well. It looks particularly lovely over panther. But I'm just going to put it over the top of this. This brush is a little bit stiff. If your brushes get stiff...
And you are now live. Oh, stop. No, you're not live. I just have that took me to the limit of that upload level. So I need to start another. Do carry on, my dear. You're carrying on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So just put plenty of the white wax on. And I'm just going to let that dry for a minute or two. And then lastly, the browning wax. Browning wax is always a bit scary when you use it for the first time because it is really, really dark. And if I'm doing a piece of furniture, I do it in sections. So when you're putting your dark wax on, it's really quite a difference. And you work it well in. If I'm doing something that's got lots of mouldings on it, I always make sure that I've worked the wax well into the corners and into the mouldings, because if you think about it, using dark wax is sort of replicating age, and the places that are going to have the most dirt and be the darkest are in the corners of furniture where it doesn't see much in the way of dusting. So you put it on like that, and again I just leave that for a couple of minutes to just do its thing and to dry slightly. And then using a piece of t-shirt type material, I don't need to do anything to the clear because that's just going to dry naturally. And then over the grey defining wax, I'm just going to gently rub that back. And already you can see that the grain in the wood has been quite accentuated. So if this was a particularly grainy piece of wood, it would really show up well, or if you've done some very textured painting, it would really show up. So then I'll just clean that bit of cloth over, and then taking the white wax off. And this you can either rub very, very hard, or you can just gently take it off, and I tend to just do it gently. And if you want to build it up, you can add more, or you can wipe it hard and just have just a little bit of a white effect. And then doing the dark wax, just going to gently rub back over that. And you can see already how it's changed the colour of the paint quite dramatically.
Oh,
Do carry on, my dear.
And has made it.
stop. Shut down. Right, let's go again. And go. On you go.
There we go. So those are the 4. Now if I can unpick this, which is always the tricky bit, and take the tape off, you'll be able to see really quite clearly the difference it makes from the colour of the paint. So let me just do that. That's one bit done. So the next bit done. Oops. So it gets all stuck to my fingers. Last bit coming off. There we go. So there you can quite easily see the difference in the colours of the waxes. And as I say, if you want to build them up, so if you wanted to add more in the way of defining wax to the corners or into mouldings, you can. That's just a very pale white, but if I wanted to put more on, I would probably let that dry for maybe a couple of hours, and then I'd add some more to it and wipe off as I saw fit. And that's with the very dark wax. Now, interestingly enough, if you put too much dark wax on and it frightens you, you think, wow, that's much darker than I wanted. If you use your clear wax on a cloth, put a little bit on there and wipe it, just tilt it up so you can see it, you can all but take it off again. So if you put too much on and you freak yourself out, which has happened to me a few times in the past, you can just rub it back off using the clear wax. So there you go. And that's basically the waxes.
Well done. Right, let's see if that showed all the way through.
That chap knocking on the door completely put me off my